And I would come home, and before I would come home, and I always go stop at Dunkin' Donuts, and I would get a nice, wonderful chocolate glazed donut with a cup of coffee, and I would just eat that comfort food, and it would be really nice. And I would sit in my wonderful traffic, and I'd go home, and I would be really miserable. So what I would do is, all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet again another episode of the Upgrade My Rituals podcast. My name is Kevin McKellar, your host, and this is the show for high performers, solopreneurs, people that run a small business, large business, whatever it is, that is looking for productivity, looking to be more efficient, looking to really execute a really great day, an ideal day, if you will. And today's Quick Tip Tuesday is going to be a little bit of a story, and we're going to talk about procrastination, but a special type of procrastination. So I'm going to take you back to a time well over a decade ago when I was in a completely different career than I am in now. And I was actually a music teacher. And the story goes like this. I was a music teacher that started fresh out of the gate, right out of college, and I got like a full-time job. And this was 2009. So that was a really bad time in at least the U.S. economy. And I got a job in a very, very small candidate pool because of the small and the small amount of openings there was as music teachers. So I got this job, and it was a difficult job for a young budding professional, and considering that I also was completely not on the mature end of that scale. I was a very immature professional who had to get through a lot of learnings. I had to really figure myself out. I had some more growing up to do, and that's just how it was. And this job was very intense. I was asked to kind of run instrumental band programs in 4 different elementary schools within this one district, which, you know, it's a lot when it comes to logistics. It's a lot when it comes to expectations. You have literally 5 different bosses, and every one of them is different, and everyone wants different. So it was very, very tricky. Now, again, I'm not putting any blame on anybody, but all I can say is this: my nights kind of went like this. My days kind of went like this, and the whole thing. I would wake up and I would go to a job that, unfortunately, as time went on, I began to really despise, really, really hate it. I was very, I hated the job. I'm not even going to get that. That's like another story for another day. And I would come home, and before I would come home, and I always go stop at Dunkin' Donuts, and I would get a nice, wonderful chocolate glazed donut with a cup of coffee, and I would just eat that comfort food, and it would be really nice. And I would sit in my wonderful traffic, and I'd go home, and I would be really miserable. So what I would do is, instead of, be proactive about different things and try to maybe look for a different work or whatever it is, I would call up my friends and say, hey, let's go out, let's do something. And sure enough, we did a lot. And we would go out, and weeknights we'd stay out fairly late, and the weekends were a disaster. And I'd come back, and even on the nights that I didn't go out, I'd stay up so late. And I would get almost no sleep whatsoever, and I'd have to wake up at between 5:30 and 6, I forget what time, to repeat this whole process over again. And the reason I tell you this really anticlimactic story is because of something it uncovered, and I didn't even know it at the time, and I really didn't know it that was a thing, what I'm about to tell you, until today. I was actually flipping around on TikTok, of all places, and some random TikToker, if you will, I don't even know who to attribute this to, but they put this title out there, and I loved it. And they said, do you have revenge bedtime procrastination? And I just thought that was the coolest explanation of what I was doing for a couple of years, right? Because even on the nights that I didn't go out, I would stay up till like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I get like 4 hours of sleep. Why would I do that? Why would I stay up, so late when I had to be at work so early? Well, revenge bedtime procrastination. And I love this because it makes so much sense. The revenge that you're getting on yourself, on your own life, right? Because of the fact that either it was a really long day of work most likely a long day of work that you didn't enjoy, or it was a long day of something even that you did enjoy, but you wanted to spend your time maybe doing something else, relaxing or playing video games, or just kind of flipping through Instagram, or whatever it is that you wanted to do. I think this title, this revenge bedtime procrastination, is so interesting. And I really wanted to pose this question to you guys today because I think so many of us, I can rattle off probably, just 3 people at the top of my head who do this, who have this issue of revenge bedtime procrastination. And it's always met with guilt, because you don't really want to actually be doing that, but damn, you ain't going to bed. Like, I need some time for myself. I don't care until you hit that wall, right? Eventually something's going to happen. And, I definitely have more stories to get into down the road, actual stories, not just kind of scenarios, but that we will talk about one day. But it's such a fascinating thing. And I want to ask you, if you do have revenge bedtime procrastination, I want to ask you if you know why. Is it that you are, I'm not even asking you to make change on it right now, because that's if you are in that state where you're staying up so late and you still have to be at work or school early the next day, but there is no way that you're giving somebody or something else all of your time, like you are spending some time yourself. My question is, do you know why? Is it because you have, like myself, an emotional issue that you have to work through, whether it be the unhappiness that you have with your job, or maybe the demands of your family that maybe I don't know, or is it that you something else, some other reason? Because I think most of it is usually either an emotional or a tactical problem, that either we had a good day, but we just still really want to have some more time for ourselves to have that escapism, right? Play Call of Duty or whatever it is you do. I say that because I have not played a video game since the original PlayStation. Like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was that was my jam, and that was it. So anyway, I ask you today to really investigate if you are a person who has revenge bedtime procrastination, and if you are not, do you know somebody that maybe you can help and work through this, whatever issues they're facing, to help them get a better night's sleep. Before we roll, I will give you one piece of advice. Obviously, the biggest thing that I can, help you with this issue is implementing the PM routine. Part of ritual design is your PM routine. Having that mapped out and written out is just your first step. Now, you may be so far away from actually doing that because you're like, whatever. But if you're listening to this, you probably are somebody who is beginning on the positive path of time management, personal development, productivity, whatever it may be. Thank you so much for listening. I love it. I love doing the podcast. I hope you guys love listening to it. If you do, please leave a review on iTunes. That would help so tremendously. Subscribe, and share it with a friend if you really like it. And of course, I will see you next time on the Upgrade My Rituals podcast.